and all the suffering indigenous populations in the damnable zoological republic are set free. Chineke na nke pụrụ ihe niile Chukwu okike abịa onye na-efe na aja aha nsọ ya mma mgbe niile. Onye ọbụla na ya na-achị eluigwe n'ụwa na-agba akaebe ịhụnanya gị na ebere gị amara gị n'ọmịiko gị ebe ndị gị na-eze ebede ngọzi. Anyị wee na-etoghị agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro. Iwe nye anyị ndụ ala nke dị n'uwere n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị wee na-asị na ịja mma niile otu niile dịrị aha nsọ gị. Onye ọbụla anyị aka ike niile na ọ gbadara aka ya. Anyị wee na-akpọku gị na-asị gị na nke ọma anyị ga-ekele gị nke ọjọọ ma anyị kelee gị. Anyị wee na-aja gị mma wee na-eto gị wee na-asọpụrụ gị n'isi ụmụ gị niile bụ ndị ikwu ndị wee ezi oku mgbe a kpọrọ ha ka ha wee chekwaa ala nsọ gị bụ Biafra onye nwe m na Chineke na ihe n'ikpere anyị nkwa na o mekataghị ka ndị iro wee were ala nsọ Biafra onye nwe m na Chineke na nke bi n'igwe agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro ma ndị na-agba mgbagba ebe niile dị iche iche onye nwe m na Chineke nna n'ihere bụ nke ndị dị etu a n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị wee na-eto gị wee na-asị onye nwe anyị na Chineke nna nke pụrụ m ihe niile onye ọbụla anyị a na-azọpụta onye ọbụ naanị ya bụ okwu ya niile bụ ihe na amen. Anyị wee na-asị ezi ebube dị ngọzi na ọtụtụ na-eja mma na nsọpụrụ site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi. Ise ise ise.
Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are joining from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed. If you are joining me from Africa, Asia, Europe, America, Australia, or any part of the world, I thank you very much for your contribution. Please, each time you watch my video, go to the comment section and put down your comments. That is where we learn from each other. We learn a lot from the comment section. I don't speak alone. I am speaking with you. You can equally contribute. You can criticize if you so desire, but do it constructively so that we can learn from one another. That is why we are here. Thank you so much for joining. Remember, you have to say what is happening in your own area. Whatever happens, if you see something, say something. Don't be silent. We cannot allow the conventional media to continue to change the narrative. We cannot allow the conventional media to continue to play down the situation. We will continue to bring the situation the way it is and say it straight the way it is without hating anybody. We are not preaching hate speech. We are not talking down anybody. We say leave and let's leave. And for those who say we will not leave, just like the Fulani Janjaweed have said, they will not leave either.
The Nigerian government has announced that from 2022, it will no longer be in a position to shoulder the burden of spending an outrageous 1.8 trillion naira annually on petroleum subsidy. But in doing so, government said it will meet the needs of the very poor with a monthly allowance of 5,000 naira. The government has estimated that about 40 million Nigerian citizens who are poor will benefit from the subsidy stipend. But then the big question is, how did the federal government arrive at this figure? Are the very poor in Nigeria not more than the figures being given? How equitable is this arrangement, knowing that the multiplier effects of fuel price hike at this time will fall directly on virtually everyone? By government's own account, petroleum subsidy consumes about 70 billion naira monthly and 1.8 trillion naira annually. What then is the rationale behind trying to replace these figures, 200 billion naira monthly and 2.4 trillion naira annually, in subsidy grants to the poor? Does the payment of 5,000 naira subsidy to the poor help reduce the financial burden on government or further increases it? Joining me in the studio to help us understand the many issues thrown up is a former presidential candidate of the Progressive People's Alliance, PPA, Peter Ame. Peter Ame is also a former chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC. Peter, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me here. Good day, Nigerians.
Let me start by asking, I saw what you wrote regarding this particular issue, the planned arrangement by the federal government to remove the burden of subsidy and then replacing or trying to cushion the effect of that by giving to the poorest of the poor transportation grants to the tune of 5,000 naira. First, should government even be thinking of removing any subsidy at this time, given its current situation in the country? Is it a good move?
For so far so good. For a long time I've been a supporter that setting the kind of burden that government put upon himself in paying extra money for the importation of refined petroleum product is not sustainable. It's not good for the development of our country. We could channel those money into other avenues. But the current administration was part of those who campaigned against this removal in 2012 and made several assertions that there was nothing like subsidy.
That was when the party came
into power. And when they got into power, you had 6 months to be able to, there was this Ahmed Jordan committee that understudied different parastatals and ministry and what they were going to meet on ground. And you would have seen, yes, subsidy existed and this is how it's going to be. The major problem with Nigerian system is to have a proper strategy and implementation plan, because if you know by 2015 that this exists, you could have done a proper strategy and implementation plan. Because if you go to abroad where people say, oh, they buy their fuel at a higher cost than Nigeria, like United States, UK and co, you have a proper well-designed transport system that you can even buy ticket for 1 year and then run those processes. Even if anything increases, that ticket money remains static. So these are the things that could be able to reduce the effect, the multiplying effect of such increase on the Nigerian population. So we don't have this thing in place. There was no plan to build a rail station from Itepe connecting Lokoja to Abuja, where people could travel at ease. Where they
provide buses.
These buses are no longer durable. You can see what they did with Shopee, with the buses they provided. They are no longer, they are not sustainable for a long term. For a country like Nigeria that is ranked, like a developing nation, what we should do, we should look at durability of the investment that we are making. Make this train work from Lokoja. Lokoja is a border city. Jos is a city close to this place. Nasarawa, Nanja, Kefi. Let these cities be connected by train. And to the Adamawa, you connect it from there straight to Adamawa through Bauchi and Jos. So that when people have a means of transporting themselves at the cost of less than maybe 1,000, 2,000, the impact of the increase will not be that much. And for government to say that they are giving 5,000 stipends to Nigerians, to the poorest of Nigerians, about 40 million of them, how do they arrive at that data? No, the data is very important, because we cannot continue to do the same thing and continue to repeat ourselves. That means we are always starting with anticipation to fail. There was Shopee. We didn't see how it ended. There was trader money. The traders are not even happy with what has gone on. It has not helped in reducing the inflation on how they call it, food inflation in the market. It has not helped in reducing anything in the market. So there was also this other money that was shared. So we must have a structural plan whatever we are going to do must be put into the development process of Nigeria. The Abuja Lokoja Expressway is not working out. It's not even in a passable station as we speak. The Yanya Road from Yanya to Abuja, people are suffering, groaning under every pain and traffic. So government must be able to have strategic plan. That this is what we want to do in the next 3 years. And before you do that, you would have put this in place, then you not do this.
With that strategic plan, include something like maybe rehabilitating or perhaps building new refineries for the country.
These are very clear. This thing. If government believe that this was the way to go, don't remember that I should make this statement in 2016.
Yes.
That subsidy has been removed, and later this other man, they said no, they were paying landing costs. These are just matter of semantics. Landing costs and subsidy is the same way, because you are paying for the excesses incurred by those who are importing this product. So if they have done that, and that's why government must be true to these people and always not and be very careful of flip-flop, because going back every time to revise your word will break the trust you have between government and the people, because you can't be saying one thing and also be saying another thing at the same time. So people no longer trust government because of the many flip-flop that have been done since 2015 they came in. So what government should have done, what is the essence of even, how much have we put to the turnaround of these refineries? We can't continue to do the same thing. We bring the refinery down. How much does it cost? An individual Dangote is constructing a refinery that will come on stream maybe in 2021, 2022. So what within 5 years you come into power? Most times what people fail in government because they want to do everything at the same time. I'm not minding that if you could bring that power to the Nigerian people, if you could make a big new refinery for the Nigerian people and make road work, whatever will happen.
Maybe just one of those things, right?
Yes, maybe one of those things. Nigerians will be so happy with you. Nigerians are very easy people to please. I'm telling you, you see a governor goes to a place and say, I build this school for you. This is public funds. And the government is declaring as if he did that for them. And you see them still clapping and happy. So what Nigerian government should have done was to say, in anticipation of our removal of this fuel subsidy, there is gulping money and we are not seeing it. And with the empirical evidence that our neighboring countries are also benefiting from this subsidy. So what we are going to do is to make sure that we already have sight for these refineries. Kaduna is there, Port Harcourt is there. We bring them down and then bring out investors and pump money, even give this money as grant to these investors. And a new refinery would have come on board within 6 years. These are not rocket science. With this refinery on board, government will no longer pay any landing costs. Government will no longer incur any excess costs for the importation of petroleum products. And that means that Nigeria will be able to access this product within the shores of this country and at a lesser cost. So the burden lies on government to be truthful to the process, to do what he has to do at the right time, and also put the interest of the Nigerian people at heart. Because the skyrocket effect of the increment of this fuel from 1 to 340 will tell a lot of
that's exactly what I was
just. The average Nigerian, who is above the poverty level, we also feel.
That's just exactly what I was about to ask. That when I asked the other time that should government even be thinking of going in that direction, trying to possibly increase the prices or the price of oil at this time, given the level of the price of commodity prices in the market?
No, it's not reasonable. It's not the right time. But like I said, government would have been talking about removal of subsidy if government had planned well. If government have started building refineries, and the refineries will come on stream by 2022. With maybe 3 refineries or 2, join with Dangote's refinery in Lagos, Nigeria problem matter would have been solved. You no longer pay landing costs. Automatically subsidy will go its own way without you even attempting to remove it. Because how to solve this problem is to make sure we don't bring what they call it already processed byproduct of the crude oil into the country. So if you are determined, if you have proper economic master plan on how to rescue Nigeria from this dog jam of economic retrogression, it is better you would have said, I came in, I set up committee, I put up refineries, even 2 refineries joining with Dangote, so would have been very effective. We privatize everything. What can we also do to privatize the refinery itself and allow private individuals? Because policies somersault also discourage foreign investors from coming in. If your policies are not stable, if you continue to say one thing and mean another, investors will not come and put money when the money will go. You cannot be paying subsidy for people who are importing petroleum products and expecting investors to come and build new refineries. So that doesn't make sense. It doesn't give any advantage to those who want to invest their money with, for proper production. So Nigeria the government must sit down with experts, economic experts, petroleum experts and market experts, and look at this thing from a very broad view and say, okay, let's design this. How does this affect Nigeria? What is the spiral effect of this increase on Nigeria? The President Muhammadu Buhari does not have the time and the luxury to say now he wants to be refined. There's no time. Government is a continuum, but you can set it in motion so that whoever comes, we know that okay, the second Niger bridge was in motion. When they came, they are completing it. So if you set that in motion, you would have been putting responsibility on the next government.
Yes.
So that the refinery will maybe be up to 30% completion stage. The person will come. He's not going to abandon it because Nigerians will continue to ask questions.
Even the railway projects.
The Kaduna Railway, everything was done by the previous administration. So it is pertinent on government to know that their function is not to serve the interest of those who are the bourgeoisies. It's not to serve the interest of those who are comfortable. Because in this increment, even the average Nigeria will feel it. Even the average Nigeria who is living in a more a middle class income will feel the increment. Because you can't buy 2 liters, and buy 5 liters at 340 naira per liter. So you and the lack of, we don't even have a structural system, transport system in place. You go, you see bus stop here, you see cars here, you see everybody running at their own cost. In fact, some taxi driver will carry you out of the mercy of how they want to charge you. So there's no proper system in place. We can't wake up and put Nigeria through this. At this very point in time, the Nigerian citizens have gone through so much, through more traumatic economic situation to ever had this on it. Subsidy is not good for our economy. It's not good for us to manage the current problem we have. But to remove it, you can't remove it without a plan.
No, there's this other very disturbing aspect of the entire issue that has to do with what government is thinking about doing to cushion the effect of should they eventually go that direction of increasing the price of the fuel price. Now that is about the 5,000 naira, and then some people have done the calculation to say even it's about the burden that you were running away from in subsidy.
This one is double.
You are going to incur more. You're going to move from like 1.8 trillion to
2.4 trillion.
To 2.4 trillion naira. Now, is this a right step in the right direction?
If you are going to move from 1.8 trillion to 2.4 trillion, yes, in saying that before I leave office, certain major roads, we will pump this money into these certain major roads. If you carry your car from here to Southeast, if you come back, you are going to spend some more money in putting back in place. Even for transport sector, those who are running private transport sector, it is not the rationale behind their thinking. It is still
everyone is trying to save.
No.
1.8 trillion, and then you spend.
There's no need, because for every country that has a proper system of social intervention system for the citizen, they have one of the best database system in the world. Like America, if you have an alien on the database, if somebody there's a very systematic way of taking that person from the database. We don't have that system. We can't even clean up the INEC database as it is, because the National Population Commission and those who are carrying the record does not have the proper statistics to feed INEC with. So these are some of these factors that you cannot, if you don't have a proper database, whatever you are doing might be lost in the wind. The money that the 2.2 trillion that you want to give to the masses might end up in the pocket of a very few Nigerians. So I think if government is removing subsidy, government should not try to transfer extra burden of 2.4 trillion on its head. Government should remove subsidy and then allow the market force market force of supply and demand to determine how this petroleum markets retail system works. So that's my projection. But at this time, there's no proper plan in place to remove it, because the 5,000 naira will be consumed by inflation. The 5,000 naira will be the worst, will be the worst economic policy ever dished out in the process of any intervention policy in Nigeria.
Does that 5,000 does it in any way look like a bait to you?
It is a bait that should not be accepted by the Nigerian people, because if you look at even the cost of palm oil in the market now, 25 litre they are saying is about.
Because I've listened to some people say, let them give us 5,000 now. It's good.
For the citizen, every time people want, every society you go, people want cheap money. People want cheap money, and if you look at China, a model of Singapore, cheap money didn't take them to where they are. It was hard work. It was proper planning. China wasn't sharing money to its citizens. China was creating an enabling environment for business to thrive. Was creating a system where business can work.
Sharing money and looking for money to borrow.
No, you can't be sharing money and looking for money to borrow. That means we are not going to be growing. So if you want to really place the Nigerian system on the top burner, this money should be invested in how to improve our educational system, how to make sure that our educational system attract international lecturers, foreign lecturers, attract international students. Even Benin Republic, Ghana, a lot of people are going there to study as international students. I just finished some courses in the Nigerian university, and I tell you that we don't have any international students coming from any country to study in Nigeria, because the system is not up to standard. In the 80s, in the 70s, Ahmadu Bello University, Abafemi Awolowo University.
University of Benin.
Yes, the University of Benin. These are high level university in Africa that people want to come from every walks of life to either lecture or to study. Now the situation is bad because the infrastructure at this university have deteriorated to a point that no longer meet international standard. So if you must do this, these are the things you must do. Then we must put our health system in place so that ordinary people who you are trying to will go to the hospital and get better medical treatment. and get it at a very cheap rate, and then build up the insurance system that works. Build up, go to a technical college. If anybody ever rule Nigeria will ever get to advise the person, we shouldn't be running a system of reading social sciences without turning out those who will be able to, you know, work instantly as a company. That's why you need to take the prototype of technical colleges into consideration. Like Orozo Technical College. You pump money there because those who are coming out from Orozo are already employable. They are mechanics. They have done both social courses, they have done science courses, and they have done practical courses. So you pump money into their technical college. This is what these schools have done. This is what Philippines have done. This is what China have done. That they are now the manufacturing headquarters of the world. So these are the policies that we must concentrate our effort on. Because if you continue to give our Nigerian very agile, very strong citizens that we have one of the youthful manpower in the world. The youthful manpower population in the world. So if you want to put them to work and do something like Joe is doing in America, bring an infrastructural development plan, start to work on Abuja Lokoja Road, let people come and work, so that as they are working, they are getting paid and they are being productive and they are helping the nation to grow. So there are clear factors. There's certain things that the government should have done before even attempting to remove the fuel subsidy.
We'll continue from there, but let's quickly go on a short break, and when we come back, we shall continue with our discussion on this issue of plans by the federal government to remove fuel subsidy and cushion the effect of it with 5,000 naira transport grants to the poorest of the poor in the country. Welcome back, and I'm still in the studio with my guest, Peter Amen. Peter Amen, before that break, we're taking a look at that planned proposal by the federal government to want to remove fuel subsidy and then find a way of trying to cushion the impact on the Nigerian people, but taking a look at targeting specifically a set of 40 million poor Nigerians. The other time we're talking about how government arrived at that figure, but my question is that plan even equitable? Is it a realistic plan? You are picking out 40 million people. What about the remaining people?
They're not going to suffer the brunt of the increment.
Yes, that's my question.
That's what I'm telling you, that the basket policy is a draining policy. It's not a policy that can hold water. It's a policy that will accept maybe majority of the society in trying to keep very few people happy. And at the end of the day, these few will not be happy from the 5,000, because even the minimum wage is not good enough to take people home. If not for the communal economic system that we run in Africa, when you have your relative working as a civil servant, you support. Nigeria must review this system. We must be able to now say that the civil servant has a means to go to work. They have quarters they can live in. They have houses that they can buy within the next 15 years of their stay in service. They have paid it off. This mortgage system that works. That doesn't work for the oligarchs alone, but that works for the ordinary, level 1 to level 12 civil servant. So these are some of the policy, the people-driven policy that I expected President Muhammadu Buhari to carry out in place, because what he did while he was even with Abacha, when they were doing the petroleum, how they call it, PTF. You saw what they did with it. Some of the buses are still in these schools. Some of the faculties that were built in this college, in this university, are still there. So we must take this system, do something that is sustainable, something that will have a lasting effect on the Nigerian people, on our structure as a people, and then grows. Because we will not build an army of lazy youth in trying to give 5,000 to a very strong and agile population. If you see Nigerian young man or young lady working, you see how determined they are to be able to create a result of their own. Today, when we're growing up in Lagos, you can't even go to any societal gathering and then hear Nigerian song being played. It was all foreign song. Yeah. Now you even go abroad, you come Nigeria, it's all Nigerian songs. If you go to any foreign country club and you are not playing Nigerian song, it doesn't work. That tells you of the creativity, of the ability of the young Nigerian to transform our country into a progressive nation. And as of last week, the CBN was saying that about $100 million, the total remittance for how they call it, for direct remittance by diaspora is about $100 million already. So we are looking at a people who are very hardworking. We want to drive them to living on handout, where we can create an enabling environment for them to show up their trade, to show up their what they can do. On social media, you see them everywhere. I saw a young man in Kano who did a gate that one gate. If you look at what he did, was marvelous. Nigeria should identify these people, pump money to them, so that we can even export this gate to neighboring countries, so that they can buy our technology. That is what we should do. Nigeria should define entrepreneurs, inventors, who can do something and put money into it. I agree. The NNPC is contracting Innocent Motor to be able to produce buses. This will also help the economy of our country, because it directly processes within this country. And our country must be able to see that whatever we are doing, let it be something that is sustainable on the long run. Not how they call it policy somersault, like you do Shopee, it ends in 2015. You do trader money, it ends in 2019. You do another one, it ends. These are not sustainable economic policies, and it's taking Nigeria nowhere. You must borrow from the best of the best, from South Korea, from Singapore, and from China, and see the discipline that was put into this.
An economics that are built on production.
Yes, that you know that if plans that have been put in place, that within 20 years, Nigeria will be ranked among Community of Nations as at the headquarters of manufacturing in Africa.
Now, I know that you are a member of the coalition of opposition political parties in the country, and just before I came on set, I read somewhere about the press statement that was given by that particular organization, and of course, kicking hard against the plan arrangement by the federal government, but expressing more of his disappointment about the role the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress has played so far in this matter. Do you think the NLC or the TUC have been in any way disappointing?
The beauty of the Nigerian Labour Congress and their authority to function can be found under Section 40. And it is ranked among where you can form association, form a political party, or a trade union where your right and interest is protected. Those will be hard hit with these increments are the Nigerian workers. Hard hit. There is not just hit, it's hard with this increment.
But I know that this statement also by the Nigerian Labour Congress saying that they are not taking the bait by the federal government.
I haven't watched the Secretary General.
Even over the years they have been in any way.
I think this current Nigerian Labour Congress have not been up and doing like the previous ones. Like the Adam Oshomole-led Nigerian Labour Congress, Pascal Bafai led Nigerian Labour Congress, and others. Because one, I don't think they are speaking for their members enough. Because all of us are their members, whether we are card-carrying members or not, because we are workers in one way or the other in the Nigerian economy. And if they can't protect the interests of the Nigerian worker, then there's a problem, and they must be seen. Not just acting to protect the Nigerian interests of Nigeria, they must be seen and believe that their actions are truly genuine to protect the interests of the Nigerian workers.
Well. The way we are now, I don't know. Maybe just to give, what other advice can you then give us where we are currently standing? What suggestion can you give to the government if you're saying? They shouldn't, they should remove the subsidy, but they shouldn't go that particular direction.
The subsidy is not sustainable, and the period this period they want to remove it is not a comfortable period. It's not well timed. It's not a well timed period, because the Nigerian economy is not actually working for the Nigerian people as it is. So what the government should do is that the government should start now and put into process how to start a new refinery and bring those old refineries down, because we are tired of turnaround maintenance cost. It has not worked in the last 20 years, 20-something years. It hasn't worked, and it's not. I don't think it's going to be visible for that turnaround maintenance to work. I think what is possible is to bring up a new refinery, bring up new refineries where we know that the materials used are new ones, and it will work when they start it. So that is what the government should do now, put it in place, so that we know that the next 6 years, even after this government of President Muhammadu Buhari, a refinery will come upstream, and by then you don't naturally, like I said, you don't need to be talking about removing subsidy if the petroleum product is no longer imported.
Do you think that arrangement to want to dole out 5,000 naira to the poorest of the poor, some people have shared a sentiment that it's going to be another conduit pipe for corruption? Do you share in that sentiment?
I share the sentiment. It is going to be another conduit pipe for siphoning of our commonwealth, and we should not, because we don't have the database. You go around, ask people. I'm from a community. I'm from a community, and in my only way, I communicate to my community in various ways. We've not seen the beneficiaries of this money in most of these communities, and so if we have not seen the beneficiary, where are the beneficiaries? You know, the President Muhammad was sitting in the presidential villa, and most times people come to report to him, people who have worked, giving details of what they have done, and he's very happy with what they are doing because it's what they are doing.
We have seen documentaries, we have seen pictures, videos,
in a country
testifiers,
of 100 million people. If you bring 200,000 people to testify, they have collected money. I don't think it has reflected the true reality on the ground. That's the fact. If you bring even 500,000 people to testify, which is easier to get, I don't think it has represented the reality on ground. So the reality on ground is that people are complaining that this money is not getting to the end users, end needers, those who need the money.
And then you fear now that this money will go the same direction.
Yes. So that's why I'm wanting him to put the money where prosperity will remember him from doing something laudable for Nigerians. We just talked about second Niger bridge. It's a project that you must commend him for, because a lot of people would have come without not continuing it. You talk about the train, a lot of people would have come without continuing. So he must do something and also put the next government on hot seats, that when they come, they must continue, because Nigeria must ask questions, and that is sustainable. That is even progressive and economic progressive policy that will help Nigeria from its current problem of dollar, how they call it, shortages, foreign exchange shortages, because we don't have foreign exchange, because everything we have is importing. Even the product that we're supposed to refine, we're importing. So all this importation cost tells more on our foreign exchange, how they call it, local foreign exchange system to naira. So for Buhari to know that, the president, for him to know that, oh, this is for Nigerians, I'm pleading with him. I'm telling him as a citizen of this country that the best option is to try to create a system that works. Is to try to put road in place. Use this money, this 2.4 trillion. Use it to create a pathway, for Nigerians to walk freely on their roads. Use it to boost the morale and the equipment status of our security agencies. Use it to build an economic trade zone where Nigerian young people can come and reinvent things. You go to certain countries like Guangzhou, you go to this place in China, this is what these ones are producing. We can create all these things. And it has that political will to do it if it's properly, given the information. Because sometimes, most of the times our leaders fail is that it's the information that reaches them. Because the villa, as you see, is like a lock territory where most people don't have access to, his friends no longer have access to him easily. So he can't get to hear the words on the street. Those of us who walk on the street can still hear this. And that's why you must surround yourself with sincere people, with people who mean well for Nigerians. Because giving 5,000 naira out will not take anybody out of poverty. Will not even guarantee that the 5,000 will last beyond 1 week.
Another issue that has been bothering a lot of people, another sentiment that has been shared actually has been that we have less than maybe a year and a half to 2023, and there is so much, a lot of government money being shared in different kind of scheme, different kind of program. If it is not the direct labor, it is in this one that is being planned, and then people are saying, they suspect, can this be a sign for vote buying ahead of 2023? Do you share again in that kind of sentiment?
We can anticipate these things, but vote buying has become almost a culture in the Nigerian political electoral system. And for us to be able to discourage that, you know, the civil society and political party, including the electoral umpire, must work together to bring out a model that will work. Because for desperate politicians, nothing you will do to stop them from attempting to buy vote. But if you put up a system, an electoral system that is bulletproof or semi-bullet or almost bulletproof, you will be able to deter them from succeeding. They are taking advantage because of the poverty level. So if you now run an economy that is handout dependent, these people will also see those who stretch out money to them at polling units as part of the handouts they are supposed to get. So we shouldn't drive our country towards that direction. Since we have,
I'm just kind of worried that
a lot of stakeholders are worried.
Too much program
because the direct works. We didn't even see the direct work that was done. See, these are, if you don't come to speak for our country, the only thing you left that you can give back to a country is a prosperous nation. There's no amount of money you leave for your children today. That if a nation is not secure, if the economy of the nation is not prosperous, that they will be able to sustain. So that is even for the president. They won't be able to sustain it.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that the direct works program, whatever they have done, I'm not seeing the result. I think there should be a documentary, a better documentary, to see what the economy.
Well, you've seen through that money. You've seen
that money. I've seen.
There's another one they even called, whether it's PS or something.
Yes, there's a lot of them. You know, a lot of this.
Yes, all of them giving out money.
This confusion everywhere. You know, so they should stop these things. It has never taken Nigeria out of any system. In fact, most people are still collecting it. They are still working in government because we can't track them until we have a very dependable database system that can filter out aliens and then put things in proper check. Then we can start this process of doing this social investment scheme, that we can now share money to Nigerians, maybe for insurance purposes, for healthcare maintenance purposes, and for other benefit or housing benefit.
But until then,
we should stop and put our youth to work and create an enabling environment where business and investment will thrive, and create a level-based, how they call it, competitive economic system, where no one region, no one tribe, and no one individual has the upper hand above the other.
Another even more confusing for me really is, or confounding if I like to say, is that we are in a situation where we're looking for money, we're looking for loans, we're looking for foreign loans, people to borrow us money.
We are borrowing loans, we're not just looking for, we are borrowing and paying for loans, we want to salary itself.
Doling out money to people. How do you I don't know. How do you? I can't remember the month now. There was a time we used about 98% of our generated revenue to service loan. To service, no servicing. We're using over 90% of our revenue to service loan. So, and I don't see. The whole thing baffles me that you want to now start sharing money where people sleep at home, when we can use them, pay them the same amount of money, generate put them into productive use, get how they call it, productive benefit from it, and then grow the economy. Do you understand this fact? If you are traveling on Nigerian roads, you see land where you can cultivate acres. Why are we not the headquarters of food production in the world? Why is America the headquarter? Why are we? These are policies that we should be concentrating on. These are policies that put Nigerians to work. If you go to some junction in Garki, in Vega, you see Nigerians standing on the street as you park. They run with their shovel and their hammer to say, please carry me, I want to walk. They want to walk. Just drive to Garki Market Junction. Even Bega.
Drive to Bega. Drive to the Ministry of Works, that bridge. As you are parking your car, even if you want to just maybe ease yourself, they will rush down. Everybody man who wants to participate in the infrastructural growth of this country. So why are we not using them? Why are we going to pick people probably who are already farmers, who are what they call it, peasant farmer in their communities, who are using that to sustain? Why are we going to carry them and then use them, give them 5,000, and at the end of the day, that 5,000 does not, tell on the economy? It's like putting more money into a society and causing more problem for the economy of the society. We don't have children, we don't have free, we don't have secondary school that is free, totally free. And we are giving money to people. Because education, they say, is the pathway to growth in every society. To free the mind of the people. To give them new perspective on how the world works. So why are we not putting money there?
Do you think we have genuine reason to even borrow?
There's genuine reason to borrow now because we are so dependent on importation. We are so dependent on we are not productive nation. Our system don't produce nothing. We import everything for all walks of life, including toothpick. So this tells on our system, and the money borrowed before in previous years were not used to put in sectors that can repay those loans. So because those money are not put in sectors that can repay loans, they are already a burden on the Nigerian economic system. And because they are already burdened, you now have to get money to be able to go forward. To
borrow yourself out of
the process. And because of our how they call it, voodoo economic policies, I heard recently that they are trying to give state how many something point 18 point something, how many billion, another bailout, so that they can use it to pay the first one they collected. It's like borrowing people money to pay debt. So we don't have the economic system is how they call it, is the spider web economic system. That you are going from here, you are getting stuck here. You are coming from here, you are getting stuck here. We must play an open, economic system that is flat on the table. That when you can go from here, you come out there, you know the route where you are coming from.
I'll give you maybe just 30 seconds to give us your final thoughts about this matter of fuel subsidy or no fuel subsidy, and whether 5,000 naira transportation grant is a step in the right direction.
The 5,000 naira transportation grant will cause more problem for the Nigerian economy than not giving it will cause. Because the 5,000 transportation grant will increase because the expectation of the market. People in the market will react. They will increase the cost of their goods, and it will affect our system. So what we should do is that 5,000 naira, let it remain with government. Government should draft a very emergency plan now on how to take us from a nation that import PMS to a nation that have PMS refined in this country. And then if you do that, even if your tenure cannot conclude it, the next tenure we have no choice than to proceed in that process.
Thank you so very much for joining us yet again.
Thank you very much. Nigeria must not continue to progress in error.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you, and remember blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.